Hey there, students, and welcome to another edition of Mr. Marcas's Digital Lessons. This digital lesson is dedicated to my 7th grade social studies class with our Unit 3 2-column notes, and today we're going over our very last section, pages 455 to 459 of your guys' Unit 3 2-column notes. As you can see in this one, it's called Resources and Religion. So the main idea here says oil resources are a powerful influence in the region's economies, and religion, especially Islam, is a powerful influence on its culture. Why it matters now, East and Southwest Asia and North Africa depends on prosperity and the ability for different religions to coexist. So based on what we're seeing on that one, for this one, most of the 2-column notes will be primarily on economics for that one for the most part as well. Same thing with some a little bit on intellectual, and same thing a little bit on social as well as political. So whatever information we find, make sure you put that in the correct categories. So that being said, let's go ahead and get this on a roll. So moving on to resources and religion. The dateline says Khuzestan province, Persia, Iran in 1908. A British company has just discovered oil here in Khuzestan. Both the British and the Persians are expected to bring their countries great wealth. The Shah of Iran, Persia, has given British businessman William Knox Darcy the rights to drill for oil here. Darcy plans to create the Anglo-Persian Oil Company and began exporting oil by 1912. The world's increasing dependence on oil for energy has led experts to predict that the value of oil will increase dramatically. The Middle East, they say, has the potential to become the greatest oil-producing area of the world. All right, so oil. Oil is a very important natural resource. It's important at the early part of the 20th century, especially so now in the 21st century. And so because of that, this resource has pretty much shaped the economies and the political landscape of this part of the world. Oil was soon discovered in other countries of Southwest Asia and North Africa. Great Britain, France, and the United States and other Western countries made agreements with oil-rich nations to build and run companies to develop the oil fields. Today, nearly half of the world's oil is found here, mainly in Saudi Arabia, Iran, Kuwait, as well as Iraq. Saudi Arabia, the world's largest oil-producing country, is also one of the largest oil exporters to the United States. All right, so that's where we start seeing this relationship between these different countries, even today. Okay, so gaining control. After World War II, many nations in the region chose to nationalize or have their governments take over the running of their oil industries. In 1960, 4 of these countries, Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait, joined with Venezuela, an oil-rich country in South America, to form the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, also known as OPEC is the name of this group, okay? OPEC would decide the price and the amount of oil produced in each country each year. In a world dependent on oil as its major energy source, OPEC had a great deal of political power. In 1973, OPEC placed an embargo on the export of oil to countries that supported Israel. As a result, the price of gasoline shot way up as the supply went down, leading to shortages. Okay, so this is going back to those Arab-Israeli wars that we talked about earlier. Like I said, because the United States backed Israel during those Arab-Israeli wars, the oil embargo, also known as the oil crisis of the 1970s, really took a hit. In fact, if you look up here on the top here, they kind of show you where their situation were out of gas and lines for oil and stuff like that, because OPEC's embargo really caused a lot of problems to the United States economy. In fact, if you watch the movie Mad Max, I don't know if you guys ever watched that movie, but if you guys ever watched that post-apocalyptic movie series Mad Max, this is what caused that movie. This is the event that inspired that film, where everything goes post-apocalyptic because of oil, for example. That's what inspired that film, actually. So, developing new products. Since the early 1900s, oil has been the most important primary product or raw material in Southwest Asia and North Africa. All right, countries of the region export mostly primary products. Many countries have also developed secondary products or goods manufactured from primary products. Iraq, for example, date palms are an important primary product. From them, industries in Iraq manufacture date syrup, paper from palm leaves, and other secondary products. Okay, so because of that, most of the economies of this region is developed primarily on exporting of those raw goods, oil being the most important one. The oil-rich countries also use oil to make secondary products. For over 30 years, Saudi Arabia and other Persian Gulf countries have refined crude oil into modern refineries. They also make petrochemicals from crude oil and natural gas. Petrochemicals are used to manufacture cosmetics, plastics, synthetic materials, detergents, fertilizers, and many other products as well. So not only are they really good at selling oil, but they also refine the oil to different petrochemicals that are also important to the region too. Now, aside from that, we also have religion being very important to the region as well. So this one will be going for you guys religion one. So I'll use, let's use blue for the religion on this one. So religion in the region. Islam is a dominant in the religion, but not the only one. Jews and Christians have lived here for thousands of years. Most Jews in the regions moved to Israel once it was created, but small communities of Jews remain in Turkey, Egypt, and Iran. Many Christians left after the break of the Ottoman Empire. Today, the Copts of Egypt and the Maronites of Lebanon are the 2 largest Christian communities. So there are different religion sects of Christianity is still in the region even to this day. All right, every country in the region shows the influence of Islam. The 5 pillars of Islam are woven into the fabric of daily life. People stop to pray 5 times a day, no matter what they are doing, at home, in the streets, or at school, or at work. Radio and television stations air programs devoted to readings of the Quran many times a day. All Muslims try to go on a Hajj or pilgrimage to Mecca once in a lifetime. Mecca is a city on the western coast of Saudi Arabia, and that's where the religion of Islam originally began. So because of that, people go on pilgrimage there. As you can see here, this is the plaza of Mecca, where where there's a stone that's located in this square area where Muhammad got the idea for Islam. Okay, people go there to pray and to show homage there as well. Now, aside from that, we also have what's known as Ramadan as well. Ramadan, during the 9th month of the Islamic year, called Ramadan, Muslims fast from sunrise to sunset. Only the very young or sick or those on a journey are allowed to eat or drink during this time. During Ramadan, believers eat a light breakfast before dawn. They then do not eat or drink again until dusk. The joyous of Fitur, the feast of the breaking of the fast, ends Ramadan and lasts for several days. So this is another aspect that you see here with other Christian faiths. For example, in Christianity, the same kind of concept is called Lent. That's also have Passover in Judaism as well. This idea of fasting, not eating, and religious and reverence to religion, they kind of share these between them as well. For the Muslim calendar, for Muslims, the calendar begins the year Muhammad fled to Medina in AD 622. According to the Western calendar, each Muslim year has 12 months, about 29 days each, which makes the Islamic year about 11 days shorter than the Western year, each day starting at sunset. So because of that, we also have a different dating system as well for the different religions of the world. I think, like, if you were to look at the different dates, like, for example, I believe in the Jewish faiths, we're like in the year 5000, I think, if you were using the Jewish dating system for the dating calendar. The Christian calendar, which is the one that we all use today, we're, of course, in the year 2020, and I believe in the year 14-something, I think, when it comes to the Muslim calendar as well. So it's kind of interesting how you have different calendars based on different religions. Now, aside from that as well, aside from religion, we also start seeing some social changes taking place in this part of the world as well. So for the social changes, we'll put that in green for this one. It says Western versus traditional culture. Many people in Southwest Asia and North Africa think Western nations exert too much influence over their own cultures. Others are more open to Westernization, adopting aspects of the way of life common in Europe and the United States. Fast food restaurants, t-shirts, television, and rap music are examples of Westernization. So many technological advances in businesses, science, medicine, and agriculture. Some people in the region believe Westernization will give them higher standard of living and an easier, more exciting, more enjoyable way of life. For others, the loss of their traditional culture is too great a price to pay. Women in the region have taken different roles in societies. In countries like Israel, Jordan, and Egypt, many women are well educated and hold important positions. Let me go get that highlight real quick. Hold many important political businesses, and the military. In some countries, however, religious beliefs limit the roles women can play. For example, Saudi Arabian women have fewer rights than do Saudi men. Right, women are not allowed to attend gatherings with men and are forbidden to drive cars. A Saudi woman may have only one husband, but a Saudi man is allowed by Islamic law to have up to 4 wives. Very few Saudi women work outside the home. Those that do usually teach in all-school schools or treat patients at maternity clinics. Okay, so depending on where you are in the Middle East, depends what kind of role women play in that country. Traditionally, the more Western you are in the Middle East, the more rights and individual freedoms you have, while the further east you go, the more restrictive your rights and liberties are, traditionally speaking, in the region. Clothing and culture. Clothing reveals much about the region's culture. In Israel, for instance, some women and men dress in fashionable Western clothing. Orthodox Jewish women, however, wear more modest dress as their religious beliefs dictate. Orthodox men often wear black suits and hats and grow long ringlets of hair in front of their ears. In some Muslim countries, women wear chadors, or foreign-length cloaks that cover everything but the woman's eyes. In Iran and Saudi Arabia, such clothing is not a choice, it's law. Men too dress and grow facial hair as Islamic law demands. So depending on what region you are, it also takes an impact on your clothing. For example, the Tuaregs, who are a tribal people in northern Africa, for example, in their religious beliefs, the men cover up and the women don't. So you have like a lot of guys who wear shamas and head coverings and stuff like that in everyday life, while the women do not have to do that. So there's an example of like some of the differences that take place throughout the region as well. And lastly, a disappearing nomadic culture. Once nomads lived in the desert places of the region. Most nomads herded sheep from place to place in search of grazing lands. Other nomads escorted camel caravans of traders across the desert. Today, not only 1% of the population is nomadic. And this is originally what they were. Traditionally, Arab culture was based on what's called Bedouin culture, which were a race of tribal peoples who are nomads who live in the area. and that's where Arab culture comes from. Now trucks, not camels, cross the desert on paved roads. Droughts have decreased grazing lands. Governments encouraged nomads to settle down. They also made it more difficult for nomads from travel from other countries to cross their borders as well. So because of that, the Bedouin or nomadic culture of this region is also going away as time goes on. So there you guys have it. That is the last section of your guys' Unit 3 2-column notes. Make sure you guys are putting your guys' 2-column notes in the correct categories and make sure you get those turned in by the original due date. So that's going to do it for this digital lesson, you guys. You guys stay healthy and safe out there. We'll catch you guys on the next one.